thechairshot.com. Always use your head.
The following is brought to you by the Social Suplex Podcast Network.
Warning. The Outsider's Edge contains strong opinions, unconventional views, and contrarian stances. Listen, if you dare.
Hey, yo!
Guerrilla tactics, it's time for warfare. Yo, we came to battle, yo, we aim to kill.
What's going on, everybody? I'd like to thank you for listening to another edition of The Outsider's Edge. First and foremost, it's me, your boy Rance, aka Ray Cash. And let me introduce my Golden Lovers brethren, Mr. Kyle Morris. My man, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing great tonight. No Karl tonight, folks. Sorry, y'all. We got him for 3 consecutive shows, so, we're proud of ourselves, but he had to do adult stuff tonight.
Yes, the semester is ending, so you might see a lot of Karl over the holidays. Maybe, maybe not.
Don't get their hopes up, man.
I know, right? And shout out to Rob for Karl's new nickname, Asshole Karl. So shout out to Rob Daniels, first fan. My brother, shout out to Rob. So man, look, it's been a hell of a week this week. So I was talking with you and Platt in separate conversations. Chris Platt is my co-host on Chairshot Radio. And I was talking to you guys separately about how last week was essentially a really slow week, with the exception of the one big news, All Elite thing, right? It was a really slow week. It's a holiday week. Well, they backdoored this week with some interesting news and some very, very big takeaways from the shows. And not in the way you would think. If you were one of the 3 million, 2 million, how many people who watched Raw Monday, and
we're sorry in advance.
Yes, and in turn one of the 2.5 million that watched Smackdown, they were drastically different ideologies and feelings you got from those shows. So we don't necessarily break down Raw as a show, or Smackdown for that matter. We break down storylines and ideas and stuff. But people are calling this Raw the worst Raw of all time, Kyle. So I don't like speaking in hyperbole. So to me, that just feels like, what the fuck?
Now, you better premise this though. We gotta acknowledge the fact that this week's Raw was real fucking bad. It was real shit.
I should have led with that.
The Outsider's Edge is not trying to sit here and say that Raw was real great this week and that we're standing. No, Raw was bad.
I'm gonna go one further. People call me a shill. It pisses me off, but it is what it is. Let me say this. The guy who watches every episode, I thought Raw was bad. I fell asleep and turned it off after the second hour.
Yeah, Raw was real shit this week, y'all. We are not trying to say that it was a great episode of Raw. We're just trying to say, worst of all time? I don't know, man. They've had some bad Raws.
Well, let's get into it. So, before we even get into the worst Raw of all time ideology, so what was bad about Raw to you? And by the way, you can speak on this for once with actual...
I watched Raw this week, y'all. I watched Raw.
You never watched Raw.
Sat there for 3 hours of my life, and at the end thought to myself, what the fuck did I just do with 3 hours of my life? But to specifically answer your question, for me, what was wrong with Monday Night Raw? A few things. Number one, and I know that you and I have kind of a different opinion on this, but I am not feeling Constable Corbin in any way, shape, or form. Okay. And so a show that really for about 45 minutes to an hour was built around Baron Corbin is already not a show that I'm really looking forward to.
That's a fair assessment.
Too much Baron Corbin, and too much Baron Corbin in real shit situations. I am so fucking sick, and not in the good I'm being worked way sick. Just so fucking bored sick of Baron Corbin changing rules to matches so that we can have more fuck finishes, so that the heels can top the faces, so that we can repeat the exact same match on loop for 6 months. Because that was my next point with what's wrong with Raw this week and in general. The same matchup week after week after week, all up and down the card. We had Bobby Lashley and Elias again. We had Finn Balor and Baron Corbin again. We had Seth Rollins and Dolph Ziggler again. We even had a repeat of last week's Lucha Booties versus the Revival in a Lucha House Rules match.
Dog.
And you know I am not with the shit of the Revival getting so
Oh,
disrespected
my God.
that they have lost back-to-back weeks to the fucking Lucha Booties.
In less than 5 minutes.
Not to mention, as we have been preaching on the Outsider's Edge for months now, the Raw Tag Team division is hot trash.
It's pretty bad.
Garbage. It's so garbage that they've taken the manager of their tag team champions and turned him into just an I piss on things guy.
Keep going,
please.
please.
The guy who's also the general manager of 205 Live because, oh yeah, they're two totally different people, but really they're the same person. But not.
Two different characters as they try to make us believe, yes.
Yeah. But yeah. So, you know, I'm not with that. I also don't like whoever's writing Ronda Rousey's promos because, like, I don't know if she just can't authentically deliver them or what it is, but ooh.
What was up with her eyes, dog?
I don't know who's doing her makeup, but she's a sassy gay friend. I don't know who's doing her makeup, but she needs a sassy gay friend.
And a lot of people, I don't like to shame women when it comes to makeup or things like that. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's okay to say, hey, it looked bad in terms of in the wrestling perspective because of the package. But I don't. Everybody, you know what I'm saying? People like certain different things.
No, we're not saying that she's ugly or terrible or anything. It's not that kind of a commentary. It's a commentary on, like, this is a professional television show, and whoever put that together
looked bad.
Did not do it right. Also, my last thing before I turn it over to you, I'm going to go out on a limb and put this one out there. I'm not feeling Dean and Seth right now.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I'm not feeling Dean and Seth right now, and I think I'm going to be really weird for me, and it's not Seth, it's Dean.
Let me start. With Dean and Seth, which is probably, most people think is
for me, it's the best rivalry of this era.
Well, definitely the best rivalry of this era, but I was going to say the top angle on Raw, if you don't count the Corbin Strowman angle, right? The problem with Dean is this. The problem, and this is the problem with all wrestling in general from a fan perspective. Expectations. Okay? We've had a certain Dean Ambrose they debuted in what, 2014?
The singles version or just as the Shield?
You're right, 6 years. But 4 as a singles version, right?
Yeah, about then, yeah.
So we've had, and even in the Shield, he was still the same guy. We've had 6 years of a certain identity of who Dean Ambrose was, right? But we also, most of us who are knowledgeable diehard fans, knew of the Dean Ambrose, a.k.a. John Moxley, he was on the Indies, right? So most of us figured if he ever went dark, he ever went heel, we would get that. He's a lunatic, and he would be crazy, right?
I feel like if you thought you were going to definitely get the full-on version of that, you live in a fantasy realm because Indies John Moxley wrestled for companies that would let you do things that the WWE would never let you do.
Oh, he got hit with a sawzall on top of his head. It was they rigged it up where it wouldn't be dangerous, but still.
So you're saying he didn't get hit in the back of the head with a brick because he wasn't working with shitty people?
Oh no, that happened. I'm talking about the sawzall.
No, I'm talking about the sauce. I know. I'm talking about, like, fuck that dude. I hope they arrest his ass.
Oh, you talking about homeboy that threw the brick to the dude in Mexico?
Like, fuck that dude.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he needs to be arrested. Yes, he needs to be arrested. But when it comes to Ambrose, and yes, I don't think that people expected him to be John Moxley, but, you know, more lunatic-y. More, you know what I'm saying, more dangerous and vicious and things of that nature. Dean has taken the expectations and went the other way. Instead of he was a guy who didn't have emotions, and he was a guy who just lived on a whim. And now, instead of going worse on that spectrum, he's got too many emotions. You know what I mean? So it's so different than what we expected that we don't know how to feel about it. I love it because I appreciate the distinction and how he's trying to change your perception of what you think he should be doing.
I think the thing that's not connecting for me, and it's not just a Dean problem, it's a heel problem in general. I'm over cheap heat the same way I'm over cheap pops. Like,
Got you.
cheap pop, name the city, and everybody cheers for you. Like, that's lame as shit. I don't give a fuck. Cheap heat, let's shit on the fans and let's shit on the city that they're in, and let's talk about how the crowd is awful. It doesn't do it for me anymore. That's not heat for me. That's don't pay attention.
Well, then most wrestling will be not pay attention for you, all companies, because
Oh, I said it's not a Dean exclusive problem.
Sure.
Absolutely not just Dean. I'm just no longer moved by, oh, well, I don't want to be in Milwaukee because I don't want to get a disease.
I will say this.
That was
part-
a unique angle.
It not only was unique angle, but him getting the flu shots as he was talking was pretty different. I appreciate that, but I get your point. I do get your point, and I'm sure I'm sure a lot of people are disappointed because we know how good of a talker Dean is, and we know how good of an angle Dean and Seth can be.
He don't write the promos, man. He don't write the promos.
But again, this is an us problem. This is something that we have issue with. Because we cheer who we want, you see them have to do disparaging different things to the people who turn heel to make us boo them. Because we would still cheer Dean if he wasn't doing this stuff. Look at Shinsuke Nakamura. Look at Daniel Bryan. Look at Becky Lynch.
Look at our boy Joe. Look at
Joe. So
I can't wait to talk about that segment later.
Yeah, because that was fire. We're gonna well, I don't know if you think it's fire. I enjoyed the shit out of that.
Oh, I love that shit.
Oh, well, I know you, so I figured you did, but I had to give you the benefit of the doubt. But so that's why they don't go right when you think they should go right with these heel turns. You know what I mean? Like, nobody expected Shinsuke Nakamura, his heel turn to be, I'm just gonna kick you in the dick every time I see you. But it's what they needed to do to cement him as a dastardly heel. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And not backing that up with substance notwithstanding. But so that's why the Dean thing doesn't bother me, because if Dean was doing what we expected him or wanted him to do, we will still be cheering him. And the company needs, with Roman out, they need Seth to be standing alone with Braun as the two top baby faces on the hill.
But I'm glad you brought up with Roman out, because I'm going to bring up again something that we talked about last week on the show, and that's it's not just Roman that's out, and that's part of Raw's problem. That's a huge part of Raw's problem.
Yeah.
They're missing Roman, they're missing Braun, they're missing Kevin, they're missing Sammy. Like, all four of those guys are in the top half of the card, y'all. Like, all of them. We're watching Bobby Lashley versus Elias for the 8th week in a row because they ain't got nobody fucking else who's not already doing shit.
I would argue, with respect and reverence to Ambrose and Rollins, and now be kind of out of nowhere McIntyre. Owens and Zayn are the top heels, and Braun and Roman are the top faces, or at least had been for the majority of the year.
Owen and Zayn are the top heels because Owen and Zayn are awesome.
They are awesome, but they were also booked as the top heels. You know, until they started getting phased out because of their injuries, they were booked as such.
Yeah.
So yes, that's an important distinction to make. But let me tell you why I don't think this is the worst Raw of all time. It was very bad. Let me tell you, it was very bad. But let me tell you the distinction between it being bad and it not being the worst. Raw wasn't terrible because there was terrible segments. Raw was terrible because nothing was good. There's a difference between not being good and being bad. Am I making sense?
I think so.
Okay. There's a big difference between not being good and being bad. This Is Your Life Bailey is bad. Bobby Lashley's Three Sisters in Men in Drag is bad. The only thing that you could even possibly put in that realm on this show was Drake Maverick pissing on the coat. And at least that had a build-up.
Poor Bobby Roode. Like, they literally have pissed on this man now. Like,
Literally,
there's
right?
there's no coming back from that. There's just no coming back from that. You better
But
turn that man heel. He better beat the dog shit out of Chad Gable next week.
Well, maybe this is one of those situations where you know how like when they slam through when somebody gets speared through the stage, they come up with a new stage, or like someone drives a car and then the car gets wrecked, they don't come up with a car no more, or like Jericho's Ambrose rips Jericho's jacket up so he stops coming out with jackets and comes out with scarves. Maybe it's one of those cases where he's not going to come out with the robe no more.
I mean, that wouldn't be the worst thing. He only started wearing the fucking robe because of the fortune shit with Ric Flair back in that company we don't talk about.
No, this motherfucker was wearing the robe when he was A1. When he was with, not A1, but when he was with Team Canada. You remember that big ass red robe?
I don't remember Robert Roode wearing a red robe. I might be misremembering.
Team Canada was, Scott D'Amore was the manager.
Yeah. Petey
Eric
Williams,
Young,
Lil
Bobby
Petey
Roode,
Pump,
Lil
don't
Petey
fire
Pump,
Eric.
and A1, who nobody seems to remember unless you're me, you, and probably Caleb. Because he's been watching that long too.
Lil
Uh,
Pump and don't
Lil
fire
Petey Pump.
Eric.
Don't fire Eric. Every time there's pyro, I'm gonna be scared, even though I know it's coming.
Yeah.
But yeah, he used to wear robes too then. But so the redeeming factor for me, I always have to find a positive spin in it. Shout out to Dave Finichel, who's supposed to be the eternal optimist. Is this in the three major segments there was something to carry over for next week. In the worst of the worst shows, there's nothing redeeming to carry over. At least you have three things in the main segments to carry over. In the Corbin segments, you've established that it's 3-2. Braun's gone. Finn and Elias are gonna stand up for good. Cause last week they were booked in a tag match. This week they stood up on their own and said this ain't right. We fighting for what's right. Okay, that's something which leads someone to believe that a third is gonna show up to help, probably Bray Wyatt. Number two, the Ambrose Rollins thing. Rollins reminded the crowd that he is the best, and Ambrose continued to attack the crowd, but they're continuing this. Ambrose doesn't care about Rollins enough anymore to give him what he wants to keep following. Okay, and you know what? Help me understand because I didn't even watch the women's segment. What happened?
Which one? The women's segment
Nia
where
Jax
Alexa
segment.
Bliss became the leader of the women's division, or Nia
saw that.
Jax and Ronda Rousey?
Nia and Ronda. What happened with that? 'Cause
So
I didn't watch that.
Nia and Tamina come down to the ring because they're like besties now. Because
cousins.
they're all
Bloodline.
all that shit.
You say all that shit, bro, but we give all deference to the Tongans, Samoans, Fijians, and Polynesians. Okay.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Shout out to
respect the
God.
bloodline.
Shout out to God. You're right. We are wrong. Anyway, so Nia and Tamina come down to the ring, and Nia's talking about how,
She's a face breaker, right?
Yep, she's the face breaker, and she's a badass, and blah, 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 and she's going to take the title. And so then Ronda comes out, and Ronda gets in her face and cuts a promo about, oh God, what were Ronda's words? She did another one of those typical Ronda promos where she's like, emotions change instantly, like out of
Goes from
nowhere.
happy to
Yeah. Just another typical Ronda shit. Typical Ronda shit. I didn't hate it. I didn't like it. It was just there. I kind of tuned out.
But so, I want you to tell me that part because I know what happened after that. I didn't know what the promo was, but the redeeming thing 3 is they finally remembered that Natty and Ronda are supposed to be friends on camera, which is gonna give Ronda some help in the meantime, or Natty's gonna say fuck Ronda and turn to her eventually. And if you believe reports, because reports are reports, Natty was supposed to be in the spot that Nia's in, but Natty dad died, rest in peace, Anvil, and they couldn't turn her heel because it just wouldn't work.
Well, and then Nia, gave Becky Lynch a concussion and got natural heat with the crowd because the crowd loves Becky.
Sure, but call a spade, because the one thing I'm tired of among the internet is seeing people say that Nia is being rewarded for fucking up. No, Nia won the Battle Royal at Evolution to be the number one contender already. She was
No,
already getting the push. And I know you know the distinction, but it's
no. What I
important to
was
note that.
no, but what I was gonna say is, people want it both fucking ways. People always complain about how the company is tone deaf and they don't do shit to respond to the crowd. Well, the crowd legit hates Nia now because Becky got hurt, and so they
Yeah,
coined her the place breaker and are running with that shit. Like,
they're going.
you can miss me with that. They're glorifying her giving someone a concussion bullshit. This is fucking professional wrestling. Hell yeah, they're glorifying that.
You know, somebody, man, I need to. When I see these things, I need to write these down because I like to shout people out.
Hmm.
I don't like to just be the person that said I saw this. I like to actually shout the person who I saw it because I like to be cited when I come up with something interesting. But somebody retweeted a tweet saying, if you ever see anybody complaining about Nia and how she's being pushed and what she's doing, show them this. And it showed Owen wearing the Owen 316 I just broke your neck shirt. That's a lot worse than a broken nose and a concussion. He paralyzed that man. You
Yeah,
know what I'm saying?
yeah,
So
he fucking did.
so like that's the one thing about how our culture has gotten so sensitive, and me and you are two of the people who are more of the understanding, I think, people in the society and try to be respectful of everybody's opinions and creed and background and this, that, and the other. But the one negative of the ultra sensitivity is we forget the same things we used to love. Now we got a problem with it without remembering the past.
Well, what upsets me about it is I just got done talking about how I hate cheap heat. This is the kind of heat I'm talking about. Like, this is some heat I can sink my teeth into. You hurt
Gotcha.
somebody, and so now you're a badass, and you're tough because you landed a fluke punch and blah, blah, blah. Like, this is the kind of heat I can sink my teeth into. Yeah, give me more of this shit. Give me more of a reason to hate this bitch.
And you know the making it put a full circle on the whole Naya story. The interesting thing to me is that if you're gonna say that Becky's night was iconic because of the blood and how she looked, then you have to cite that Naya did it, and then you have to look at that as a positive because it wouldn't have went out the same way had Becky not had that blood. It would have been a good segment, but the
Well,
blood made it
great.
iconic.
Well, it's just like, accidental blood always makes me think of Finn and Samoa Joe when they had, was it their first match at Takeover or their second match at
This was the one
Takeover?
in London,
Okay, yeah, their
so it
match
might have
at
been the
London
first. Yeah,
where
Joe
they,
got cut on accident.
yeah, when Joe got cut open on accident, but it made it so much better because, I mean, Samoa Joe's a bad motherfucker. Like,
Yes,
he just is. We're gonna get to his fire ass promos in a minute, but you give that
yes.
man some accidental blood too, like, he is an animal, and it just dials it up to 11.
And I love that. That's the one time when they come in to try to clean it up. It worked because he kept pushing them off and kept getting more and more pissed. They kept trying to clean him up.
Yeah,
But
like, dude is an animal.
the most notable moment is Hart Austin, because Austin didn't get cut. He didn't blade. It was accidental cut. Like he got cut hard way.
I was gonna say that's an impressive hard way. That
Yeah,
is an iconic look of the
but
blood dripping down his head.
that's how you know it's hard way
So
though, because if
iconic.
you blade, it's only supposed to if and Austin knows how to blade. He started wrestling in the 80s.
Oh, I mean, I know Austin knows how to blade. Speaking of, you want to talk about bad blade jobs? Nobody has more bad blade jobs than Austin and The Rock. Those motherfuckers would
Oh,
crawl under the ring for like 5 minutes at a time.
well, no, Shawn Michaels might have him beat, but yes, those three are the kings of that.
Woo.
Yes.
Just like,
But yeah, that's how you know it's hard way because it was bubbling. It wouldn't stop. It's much like well no Eddie messed up his when he was bleeding in the Judgment Day match. He bladed, but Eddie he fucked up. But yeah. Um. So yeah, remember I was bad, but so okay, we I don't. I was listening to Busted Open and they said something that I agree with that I say to you all the time. I don't just want to be the dude that bitches. Let's come up with solutions.
all
And
right,
at least, well, hold on. Let me ask you one segment. We can talk all of it, but one segment in particular, I need you to tell me what can we do to fix it.
All right.
AOP, Rude and Gable, and Drake the Pisser.
Okay.
How can we fix it? And you can't retcon it. So we
I'm
have
not.
to move forward
No,
from
we
Monday.
can't retcon it.
How can we fix this?
Okay. So we have got to bring back serious Bobby Roode. We don't necessarily have to bring back heel Bobby Roode.
Can they be this? Can they be the same though? Can serious Bobby Roode be a face?
Beer money. Beer money.
That's a different lifetime and a different company.
I know it's a different lifetime and a different company, but your question was, can serious Bobby Roode be a face? In Beer Money, during the time that they were faces, he was still serious, and it worked.
Maybe I should change. Maybe I should change the question. Can serious Bobby Roode be a face in the WWE sphere? Not will they? Because very clearly they could if they wanted to.
I think it's hard. I think it's harder within the kayfabe of the WWE sphere because he doesn't have as much credibility.
And that's kind of what I'm leading to.
Like his only main roster credibility is he was the U.S. champion, and the implications over at LOP said it best about the U.S. title division in his most recent column. What the fuck is the U.S. title division? Who are the challengers? What is the hierarchy there? That belt is meaningless.
Shout out to Imp.
What's up, Imp? Shout out to Imp. But like, no, that belt is the never open weight title of the WWE. It is only as prestigious as the person who holds it.
That's disrespectful considering who's holding it now.
I mean, it's the facts though. That belt only means as much as the person holding it.
I hate to agree with that, dog, but you're right. And they've
Bobby Roode's only credibility, so like.
Well, I mean, yeah, okay.
A main roster
credibility. Like, no, I was gonna say, in the eyes of the fans, he has not credibility, but he has.
Well, Bobby's
clout
factor, yeah. Like Bobby's got.
He's got clout with the fans, but credibility, no. You're right, absolutely right.
I mean, first thing we got to do though to fix this whole situation is fucking Drake Maverick, the Pissers, got to stop with the P thing. Like that's got to stop off rip.
Okay,
that's my number one. Number two, I hate to say that the best way to deal with something is to end the feud itself, but like Gable and Rude don't have credibility to be challenging for the tag titles right now. The Raw tag division is so trash that they've got nothing else,
and they've won consistently since they've been teaming.
But like realistically, the problem is that tag division is so broken. And the best way we can fix that is by getting more tag teams in or establishing the tag teams we've got.
Well, that's not
I don't think. Well, no, it's not even that it's not going to happen. But we've talked about some of those tag teams can't be salvaged. You can't salvage Ascension. You can't salvage Heath Slater and Rhino. You can't salvage B Team at this point. Like
I think the only one of those three I think you can salvage is the Ascension, only because give them some new makeup and. Because they have a fire gimmick, they have fire music, they have a fire entrance. It's just revisionist history.
You know a tag team I want them to feature? And this tag team hasn't been seen in quite some time because one of them has been injured for a while.
Uh-oh.
My former favorite tag team on the Smackdown Live brand, my precious Breezango. I want Breezango to be established as a legitimate team because I miss the Fashion Files.
By the way, just on a side real quick, Tyler Breeze made an appearance at the NXT tapings tonight.
Yo, man, I mean, I'm marked for Tyler Breeze, especially NXT Tyler Breeze. Shit.
Yeah. And he was NXT Tyler Breeze.
Prince Pretty is the greatest. Love that shit. Raw could use some Prince Pretty right now.
And Dango's healthy. He's finishing up rehab and getting healthy again.
Bring Breezango.
So very soon he'll be back.
Bring Breezango back and make them not geeks because you know what? Fandango's decent enough and Tyler Breeze can fucking go.
Dango can go.
Interesting.
Yeah.
is the thing. Like, they're charismatic and fun and interesting with that Zoolander gimmick that they got going.
But they have to be funny. You have
Yeah,
to bridge because
sure.
they can't be serious all of a sudden. They have to still be funny.
Yeah, no, they've definitely got to still be funny, but they can be funny and still win matches and be legitimate.
Completely agree, but it needs to be known that WWE and comedy is a hit or miss thing. So
But
I
I
hope
think that's why
does.
I think that's why they're so hit or miss. WWE with comedy, like, in order for a comedic team to still be taken seriously, they have to fucking win matches.
Yes.
You can't job out your comedy people because then all they are is a cheap laugh.
Yeah, Santino.
Yes, and so that's my thing. They can be the goofy Fashion Files comedy dorks with the funny segments as long as the New Day are a great example of that. The New Day are funny, goofy, like making jokes
Sure.
most of the time team, but then
Sure.
they have matches and they fucking win.
And I cite the Breezango Usos feud on SmackDown to your point. It was the most ridiculousness. Complete. Breeze was dressing in different clothes during the match, and then
like the
but the
costume
the
changes.
matches were great.
Yeah, and each character had a different thing. Like, he would put on that fucking janitor costume and start sweeping around the ring.
With the bald head.
Yes, and it was the greatest shit. Like, that was so much fun.
Yeah.
Raw's
That
tag
might
team
be-
division is so trash that they need that kind of fun.
That might be the savior of the tag division. I didn't even think about that. So I want to say this though. So the pissing thing. I want to focus on that for just a second. I was okay with everything that happened. I was okay with him peeing on himself at Survivor Series. I was okay with the jokes last week. I was okay with all of that. Because if the goal was, hey, I had a bad moment, but I got these behemoths here. Y'all gonna make fun of me. We finna beat y'all ass. It'd have been perfect. I think they crossed the line for me. Not from it jumped the shark for me.
I was gonna say
when he kept going.
Yeah, it's not
And,
that it's not crossed the line in terms of there's some kind of moral objection. It's crossed
No.
a line in terms of it is now too sophomoric for me to be amused.
And it's stupid. Like
That's
I'm
what I'm
okay
saying.
with
Like,
sophomoric
this is
humor.
this is
It's just
too
stupid.
juvenile and too dumb for me to laugh at.
It just doesn't make any sense. It's just dumb on all
Especially
levels.
because the first time he pissed, when he allegedly pissed himself, it was supposed
legit.
to be a fear thing.
Yes,
And
I get that.
Like, oh, I'm backed into court. No, this time it was like, okay, well, now I just pee on things. I'm the guy that pees on stuff.
And again, like I said, until the actual incident, I got it because if you remember, last Monday, shout out to the homie Real Life Kaz, the writer. He was the black dude with the phone who was making fun of him, and then Gable and Rude made fun of him. So I get why he has a vendetta against them, and for some reason, AOP, he's the one person in the locker room they listen to. Why Drake, I don't know. So I can get why that would start a feud and they would have beef. I understand that. That makes sense. You're using something that you did as a little comedic moment to build to a real feud. A plus. A plus plus. And then you go and have the man piss on the damn jacket.
Yep.
But yes,
Yep.
man. So yeah, it was really bad. It wasn't a bad like I'm disgusted bad. It was a bad like why am I watching this bad?
Well, that's what I'm saying. And like some of the things are fixable. Some of the things are fixable.
A
So
lot
like
of the things are fixable.
Seth Rollins versus Dolph Ziggler pissed me off because you're doing this open challenge thing
Yeah, that was
again,
bullshit.
and it's
That was
like,
bullshit.
okay, you've got all these possibilities of people that you can bring on, talent that you don't utilize, talent that are, bring in one of the 205 guys, bring in one of the lower card guys that's not doing anything right now, bring in, like, have somebody return from injury. So many different options you could have gone with. Bring in an NXT guy just for the night. You've been hyping Lars Sullivan and where's he going to go and he's a free agent and blah, blah, blah. Have him come out and challenge. Fuck it.
Yeah.
Like, this is a one-off thing. So let's rehash a match that can only make me think of how much I hate the Pittsburgh crowd.
So I will defend WWE for this. And I was very upset with it being Dolph too. So I'm not defending that. I'm not defending who it was. But let me defend him on this situation. We have in our mind the John Cena Open stuck in our minds. The reason the John Cena Open worked so well was because he wasn't feuding with anybody. So it was legitimately, hey, whoever wants to wrestle, wrestle. Seth is in a feud. So because he's in a feud right now, a blood feud at that, a very serious feud at that, you can't just bring up some regular dude or some random dude. I mean, people were thinking Mustafa Ali, that'll never happen. Or, but a Mojo Rawley or anybody. You can't just bring them up and do that and it exists in its own plane because the focus has to be back on Seth and Dean. So the reason why Dolph worked in that respect is because Dolph is the best in the world, right? He just got through with that feud, was about the best in the world thing. So Seth beating him
Yo,
clean,
man, Shane McMahon's the best in the world. Don't you remember?
I know, but
Him and
yes.
Miz are co-besties.
Yeah. you you know what I'm trying to say. But it reminds the crowd that Seth is the best in the world, and further reminds them that Dean keeps running from him.
I
You know what I'm saying?
I don't disagree with you, but I still think you could have used Mojo Rawley for that because Mojo's a geek. He's a heel geek.
Right,
So
right.
he
But
can't steal the focus from anybody because he's a geek.
But there's a difference between being dominant and being good. You wanted to show that he could get in a fight and he could really have a great match in this. You didn't just want him to dominate somebody.
I'm sorry, sir. It's 2018. Seth Rollins isn't trying to prove to anybody that he can dominate a match.
Yes, he is. He's trying to prove it to Dean Ambrose.
Dean Ambrose, who's never beaten him.
offensive.
Wait a minute. Dean Ambrose, who's never beaten him one-on-one. That Dean Ambrose, the Dean Ambrose
beat him once.
who lost to him repeatedly for the WWE title. That Dean Ambrose
won one. He won one time.
He won one time. Okay, one time. They feuded for how many months?
That's not the point. He won one time.
Okay. But
No, two times. Two times because there was a Dusty finish. Remember?
Well, I thought you were going to say technically two times because that's who he cashed in the Money in the Bank on.
Oh shit, three times. Hey, facts, brother. Facts.
And then he lost the title to AJ by dick kick. AJ, who just lost the title by dick kick, won the title by dick kick.
So I think it's full circle. I feel like it's karma. You win it how you lose it how you won it.
Well, no, that's not how he lost it the first time. Remember, the first time he lost it to Randy Orton.
Not Randy, John Cena.
John Cena? Oh, fuck, that's right. It was John Cena.
Royal Rumble, the match everybody said
Yeah,
should have made
and then John Cena lost it to Bray Wyatt, and then I refuse to acknowledge the Bray Wyatt-Randy Orton feud or anything about it. Go away, Randy Orton. Just go away.
Oh, but he's going to get some love tonight. He's going to get some love tonight.
From you.
Yes. Yeah, well, we can move on from Raw, man. I think we've talked about it enough. People remember, man, episodic television ain't easy to write, and I realize it's not this hard. It's not this hard, but it's not easy. And
also fucking fix Sasha and Bailey. Like, Jesus Christ, they're awful.
Okay, you can't say fix Sasha and Bailey. You have to say do something with Sasha and Bailey.
No,
because
you
can't fix
Sasha and Bailey because that shit is awful.
They're not doing anything.
That's what's awful about it.
So how can you fix something that's not being done? I can't fix my air conditioner if I don't have one.
You live in Houston, sir. I hope you have an air conditioner.
I got multiple. I have air conditioner and fans in every damn room.
I was gonna say, you in a swamp ass country.
Oh, it's hot in this room now.
But yeah, let's move on to SmackDown because SmackDown's doing a lot of things right, and SmackDown is thankfully getting the level of love that I always have held for SmackDown. But I'm gonna say this, y'all. But I'm gonna say this. Y'all bandwagoners only think SmackDown is so good because Raw has been so bad.
Preach.
I love SmackDown. I mark for SmackDown. I sing SmackDown song to any and every wrestling fan who will listen. Rance knows this because I sing its praises to him even when it's bad.
It annoys the fuck out of me.
I will defend the Miz's terrible character right now because I love SmackDown. And I will overlook how bad the Miz's character is right now because I mark for that show. But the rest of y'all only think SmackDown is doing so great because Raw is so bad that all SmackDown has to do is try a little bit.
Yeah.
And they look amazing by comparison.
Yeah, you're right, and it's an excellent point. It's
Like the bare fucking minimum. If we look at this week's SmackDown, Daniel Bryan wasn't even on the show, y'all. Wasn't
Nope.
even on the show. But when AJ gave a promo, it furthered that feud.
Oh, I got you one better. What was the main event? A battle royal.
For the women, where the winner is going to be added to Charlotte versus Becky in a TLC match for the women's title.
And Sonya Deville was the runner up, and they were
shout
lit.
the fuck out to Sonya Deville. That is
She's
my
amazing.
homegirl. They need to
So
push her as a dominant heel in that division. Well, not
She's a
heel.
baby.
There's too many
She's baby.
heels already.
She's turning baby now. She's turning baby now.
And shout out to Sonya Deville for having a badass catchphrase. Put your hair up and square up is fucking catchy as shit.
It is. I just need her to stop doing a little. Leave the punches. Leave the shadow boxing when you come out. And when you come out to the ring to Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish. Cause hers just looks so choreographed, and theirs look like they're really actually shadow boxing. Like.
But I will say this, though. First of all, she can actually fight. We know this. She's got fighting backgrounds. Like, she can actually fight. Second of all, I'm going to need her and Asuka in a, like, take the cuffs off, strong style match.
That'd be fun.
I need that in my life.
Is she ready, though?
She's not ready yet. She's not ready yet, but I got enough of a taste on Tuesday night at the end of that Battle Royal when they were fighting on the ring apron and shit. Like, I got enough of a taste that I need that in my life.
If I gave you Asuka versus Shinsuke right now in a strong style match, Asuka might knock him out. That's how cold Asuka is.
Shinsuke ain't lasting to the third round. Shit. Asuka gonna choke his ass out.
Well, we do have to remember, though, that even though we have this version of Shinsuke, and we'll talk about him, too, because he has something of note.
He old. Like,
for once.
old. I'm talking, like, she younger and
higher
and faster.
Asuka's like 36.
No, she ain't that old. I thought she was only like 32.
Well, we have Google.
I was just gonna say, we'll Google this.
Yes. So while we're Googling this, let's talk about SmackDown. And so the man is back.
Oh, she is 37. Shit, I thought she was much younger than that.
No, she's old as hell. That's why when Suzuki beat her ass, Suzuki looked young when he beat her ass in that match. Suzuki was young. It was a minute ago. Yeah. Yeah, she's big sister. She's big sister to Io Shirai and Kairi Sane. But Becky's back. So let me ask you this, because you pray at the altar of Queen Rebecca.
I do love her.
How did you see her return going? How did you respond to her? How do you like her return? What do you think of it? And the promo battle with Charlotte, who do you think won it? Because I'm sure I have a different opinion than you.
I mean, I thought that this was kind of early for her return. I thought they were going to hold her out until, like, Rumble season. But, I mean, that's fine. I'm cool with her coming back. It's whatever. I thought that this week was probably her weakest promo of, like, her hot streak. Not to say that it was bad or that it was, like, unbearable, because it was still good. It just wasn't, like, that hot fire that she's been spitting. Which is, law of diminishing returns anyway. As far as the promo battle with Charlotte, like, I don't really know. I wouldn't say either of them won, because I didn't think either of them did all that great. Like, it was just more of the same from both of them. Like, a little bit of a different direction for Charlotte than what she's been doing now. I don't know if she's going tweener or what the deal is with that. But
no. We've joked about this all the time. WWE books their heels to be faces, because they know that they can't book faces for shit. So they just book you to be vicious, and then the crowd's gonna cheer for you.
Yeah, I guess that's what they're doing with Charlotte. I don't fucking know. Like, if I had to choose a winner, I'd probably give it to Charlotte because like Becky's clapbacks were meh. The one thing I do agree with though is I said it last week. I was like, all right, so like Charlotte going back to bad doing this Becky style shit. So like Becky got a point.
She do, but we have to remember that Charlotte was doing that 2 years before Becky was doing
Yeah, but Charlotte's also been like kissing babies
it.
for
You're right.
the
Yes, you're right.
last
With
5 minutes.
recency bias, yes, you're absolutely right. So, I wanted to, for the record, Charlotte won that to me for two reasons. Number one, she got the crowd to cheer her, to be shocked at the things she was saying, then to boo her in the span of 5 minutes. That's impressive. And number two, Charlotte said, "Shut your mouth," and Becky was like, "Oh." If you tell somebody to shut their mouth in an argument, they shut their mouth, you won.
I am glad that they added a third woman to
They
this
needed
match
because
because
it was getting a
like
little stale.
I was
Yeah,
not feeling the thought of the two of them going back one more again, even in a TLC match.
agreed.
So
So
like
can I tell you my because so
I was so worried they were gonna push Mandy Rose and I was gonna hate it because
oh
I,
no,
I
it was
know
never
I
gonna
know
be
I'm
Mandy.
probably the only one, but you know, I'm the gay host, so I'll just say it. I fucking hate Mandy Rose. Nothing about Mandy Rose does it for me. They could fire her ass tomorrow and I would not be upset.
Well, none of us like Mandy, but she's fine as fuck, and she's decent. She's not trash. She has tons of potential. She's much better than Eva Marie was her entire career.
Well, I mean, Eva Marie was hot garbage.
Right, but they had the
Garbage.
same background and they had the same push. And Eva never progressed except for the fact that she did a mildly decent sliced bread.
Speaking of the for lack of a better term, hot women on the roster, you know who I'm gonna give a shout out to this week? I'm gonna give a shout out to Lana because Lana wants to be good as a wrestler really badly,
Mhm.
and you can tell that she's trying very hard to improve her ring work.
She
I'm
is.
not
It ain't
saying
there
that
though.
she's great. No.
It ain't
I'm
there.
not saying that she's good. Like, she's not. But I appreciate that she's trying to get better and she's putting in the work. And I really appreciate that about Lana. Lana's not good. But neither is Carmella. Realistically, if we're talking about
Carmella's
like
better than Lana.
ring, neither of them are
Carmella can,
good.
but Carmella can have a competent 10-minute match. Lana can't have a competent 3-minute match.
Nah, nah. It's a shame. It's a shame. Her husband's so good in the ring. She just so. Oof. But she's
Yeah,
trying
but
so hard.
her husband came to this country with the purposes of learning how to wrestle. Lana was an actress who's been in major feature films who just happened to fall in love with a dude who was a wrestler and fell in love with the business. So I get why she didn't catch to her like Rusev did, because he was sleeping in cars while he was training to learn to wrestle and working two jobs. So like you kind of got to get good when that's your life.
Hmm.
And shout out to Naomi because of course that ass.
Hashtag relationship goals.
No. Hashtag that ass. But relationship goes too, but hashtag that ass. Um, so you're gonna be upset at me for this, but you know that I have my reservations about this version of Becky. I acknowledge and I believe in my soul that she is killing the game right now and is in fact possibly the hottest thing in the company. I see that and agree with that 100%. But my reservations are this. I
They
don't
never
like how
have more than one women's feud at a time, and so the second she loses the title, they're just gonna backburner her.
I haven't even I haven't let that get to my mind yet because I don't see her losing the belt for a minute. But no, my issue is that um, I don't like how so many people jump to her side all of a sudden, and that put her in a different stratosphere than she was before. So now all the eyes are on her, right? And oftentimes when you're not gonna like me saying this, but I believe this. Oftentimes in wrestling and entertainment in general, when you get put on that kind of pedestal without earning it, I'm not saying she hasn't earned it in the ring. I'm not saying any of that. But what I'm saying is the normally when a wrestler gets to that level of popularity and notoriety, there was a build to getting to that point. There was no build with her. She turned on somebody, and all of a sudden, she's the toppest thing in the world. There was no, let's get here. The turn happened, and then we're going to do this feud, and then that feud, and then we're going to build to this. It was overnight all of a sudden, much like the Russo Day thing. Overnight, all of a sudden, hey, we like Becky because Becky turned on the person we hate. Had Becky done that exact same turn on anybody else on the roster, nobody would have cared. So that was always my concern about that, is that ultimately, where's it going to go? And last night was a very small microcosm of it, because a lot of the best wrestlers are themselves turned up to 10, right? If you know Rebecca Quinn, this is not her. None of this is her. None of this is her. She's the quip making, I got a pun for everything, fun loving chick. I don't doubt that this is an aspect of her personality, but largely this is not her turn to 10. So you can only have so many insults, and eventually it's gonna start running thin. And that's my concern for her, is that as we go along and we keep going, and she doesn't have the perfect foil that Ronda was, because Ronda couldn't respond at all. She was trash at every response she gave. As we keep going and we keep going further and further and further, she's gonna lose little by little all of the crowd. She's always gonna be over because she's great, but I'm scared that she might have a gratuitous drop eventually, and I'm scared for her because she deserves, from her career and how great she is, to be where she is. But that's my concern for her. I see your face, and I know you got problems with that.
No, I'm still caught up on this didn't earn it thing, and I'm just gonna let it go.
But
I'm
but I don't think you're understanding what I'm saying. So, okay, this is what I mean.
Oh,
When
I think I
Austin-
understood what you meant, but
Okay, but when Austin first turned face after the Bret Hart debacle, he feuded with Bret Hart for damn near a year.
what did I just
Right.
say about the women's booking as a division? That's part of what you're talking about with this build. They don't do long-term, drawn-out feuds outside of the title with the women.
You're right, but I don't think that has anything to do with this particular situation. And you're absolutely right. I cannot agree with you more.
And
But
they
in this-
spent months building her up.
No, they spent months building the heel turn, not her. They spent months building the heel turn. Can you at least agree on that? They didn't spend months building
they
her.
built her up. She had to beat the entire roster to get that original
did,
title shot.
But what I mean is, if they built her up, what do you remember about her at that time other than heel turn?
That she hadn't been used in forever, and I was really happy that they were finally using her again.
Right. So what I'm saying is, they didn't build any character up. They didn't build anything about her personality. They built up the fact that she had to keep winning because she had to earn it, and Charlotte didn't. And then she lost, and she turned. They built up the heel turn. I mean, if you disagree, I respect that. It's cool. And I'm really not trying to shit on Becky here, because I know it sounds like I am. I'm not trying to say she doesn't deserve this spot or she didn't earn this spot in totality. What I'm saying is, with a lot of these wrestlers who have ascended to this spot, John Cena, The Rock, Shawn Michaels, Roman Reigns, and Seth Rollins, and Dean Ambrose, a lot of these guys didn't just pop up all of a sudden one night and the next day we're talking about them as the biggest thing in the company. There was a grind to that top, and there were steps to that top. That's why a lot of people didn't like Roman Reigns, because it was a very small step. Most people want the long, gratuitous steps. And I'm not saying, yes, she got built up for the heel turn, but once she turned heel, literally the next night people said she's the greatest thing in wrestling. She just beat up a person. Like she hadn't done anything from a character perspective in kayfabe to earn this adulation. It's just one of those things where the crowd likes to cheer for things because they're
But
the crowd.
I'd argue the crowds that have been going to events, because we've talked about, the people that go at this point are mostly like the fans.
Mm-hmm.
Becky's always been over with that part of the crowd. Always. She ain't getting Austin level pops or anything, but that part of the crowd has always stand for Becky. They just needed a reason to be able to loudly stand for Becky.
You're right. But conventional wisdom and 30, 40, 50 years of history shit tells you that the things Becky did would cause them to not like her anymore. Which is why I'm saying if this
Gotta
happened
keep
to
the modern
any,
zeitgeist in mind, though, man.
that's
Modern
fine. But the
zeitgeist
modern,
is to like love all
right?
the things that you're not supposed to and hate everything that you are supposed to. Good is
You're right,
bad, bad is good.
but it's only modern zeitgeist because of Charlotte. Had she turned on Carmella,
No, I'm
had she
talking
turned
about the
on
modern
Lana,
cultural zeitgeist,
I agree. But what I'm
even
saying
on the
is,
company-wide basis.
Sure, you're right. But had Becky done this to any other human being alive in that company other than Charlotte, nobody would have cared the way they did.
Because
That's the
Charlotte's the
point.
only woman on the roster who's that level of a main eventer.
And no, that's not why. That's not why.
No,
That's not why.
I argue that it is why. It matters because Charlotte matters. If she'd have done it to Carmella, Carmella don't fucking matter.
I disagree with that. I disagree with that. I think the reason why, and this is good shit here. I think the reason why it mattered that it was Charlotte is because Charlotte and Becky have been hand in hand for the past 2 years. And if you go further back, the past 4, 5, 6, going back to NXT. And it's very well known that the crowd knows that Charlotte is Becky are best friends, and the crowd knows that Charlotte gets these opportunities and Becky doesn't. So it was in a sense a revolt of sorts that they were tired of Charlotte and they wanted Becky and they wanted Becky to have that moment so bad and she lost it because of Charlotte. So when she turned on Charlotte, Charlotte could have been in the undercard, but their relationship is what caused it because of the relationship they had. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I know what you're saying. I just feel like the reason people wouldn't have cared, period, if it were most of these other women, is because most of the other women don't matter on that level. Charlotte is on like that next level shit. Charlotte is on that Trish and Lita level. If you want people to give a fuck about or if you want people to give a fuck about what's going on, you got to make it matter. If she'd have done this turn against Naomi, I love Naomi. You love Naomi. But if she'd have done this turn against Naomi, they're still on the fucking mid card.
So doesn't that say something about Becky? Doesn't that say about Becky to you?
What do you mean? In what sense do you mean? I don't understand the question.
And I think what I'm trying to say is that if Becky was the performer that we think she is, and Becky was as over in a earned sense the way we think she is, should she have been able to get this reaction regardless of who she turned on? Because we would be invested in her and not invested in who she's feuding with?
I don't necessarily put that. See, I don't put that on her as much as I put that on the way that the company books the women outside
Okay.
of a certain like handful. Ronda is
That's fair.
allowed to have main events. Charlotte was allowed to have main events. Back like 3 years ago, Sasha Banks
Sasha.
was allowed to have main events. Not so much anymore, but like 3 years ago, she was allowed to have main events. But like for the most part, they don't book the women as the main event. And
You're
so Becky on her own had been there for that long and had been there this whole time. Becky has been women's champion before. This is not her first run with the title.
Right.
And so if she'd have done it against the other women, it's still a mid-card feud because they're still seen as the mid-card. If you want to make Becky a main eventer, this is her stepping stone. Charlotte is
Okay.
her leg up into that next level. Now, your concern is valid because with anybody getting pushed, the concern is always what comes next. Remember when Braun was that hot shit?
hmm
That shit ain't so hot no more.
So I get what you're saying, and I think we're on the same wavelength in terms of our understanding for each other. But I'm not talking about this in terms of a spot on the card. I'm talking about this in terms of an interest of the crowd to in a person. And very clearly, while people liked Becky, the crowd wasn't into her then like they are now. Something changed overnight. And what I'm saying is it only changed because of Charlotte. So if Becky is the character and the person that we think she is as a performer, as a character, then it shouldn't have mattered who she turned on. They would have been invested in her enough to still give her the reverence and the clout she has now. And that is why I'm scared that she's going to lose it, and that's why I'm saying that it's not earned.
See, she
That's what I'm
didn't.
saying.
See, she wasn't allowed to talk very much before. Also, we have to keep in mind, like,
I'm not saying she got great. I'm not saying
no,
she got great stuff.
no, I'm not
Yeah,
talking about getting great stuff. I'm talking
she didn't
about
have
like
anything. You're
she
right.
didn't have promos period before, so
You're
like there's no
100%.
reason to invest in someone you don't see.
That's not true. Rusev didn't have promos either.
Rusev had people who were interesting around him.
Okay, but so did Becky. What I'm saying is we can make every excuse in the world for Becky not having this, but WWE fans have shown that Zack Ryder had a YouTube show. They'll cheer who they want if that person they deem worth cheering. Becky didn't get
Ain't no
that
one
until
cheering
she
for
did
Zack
something.
Ryder anymore.
No, nobody is now, but you know what I'm saying? So I'm just saying that
He's still
I'm
got a
scared
paycheck
for
though.
Becky. He's getting them checks. I'm scared for her because I don't feel like the level she's at was earned in the eyes of the crowd from a performer wrestling perspective. I feel like she's the flavor of the month essentially, and she deserves better than that because she's a much better person, better wrestler, and better character than that. But the character didn't earn the clout she has. So when that gratuitous drop happens, I'm scared that it's going to be a lot sooner than later.
See, I feel like
And I'm
the
explaining this over and over, not for you, but for the crowd, because I don't want to be looked as a Becky hater.
I just feel like nobody there aren't a lot of people that are over in the way that you're describing anyway.
You're
Really,
right.
there's not. There's like 3 or 4 maybe on the roster that are over at the
Sure.
level you're describing.
Sure.
So realistically, anybody that you push, you would have that same fear for because of what I just said. What comes next is always what matters most.
You're right, but there's nobody else in the crowd there's nobody else on the roster. People are saying it's the next Austin, and people are
Because
like,
people want that.
you're right, but what I'm saying is I've read, and we need to move on because I don't want to just make this all about Becky because I don't want to
I'm
sound
all
like a
right
Becky
with a
hater.
podcast being all about Becky. I love Becky.
Okay,
But
I do too.
no, but anyway, continue.
Whether or not I sound like I do too. But I I may not tweet a lot, but I'm on Twitter all the time, and I've been I've been a card carrying member of the IWC most of my life. I can't remember a time in the Shield era. I think that's when things kind of changed and this new era started when the Shield debuted, where you had a character that maybe even since Punk and Bryan, that you that a character where people were so in love with it they were making every single joke and quip and everything about she's the business and this, that, and the
Has
other.
a character ever been as good at Twitter as Becky Lynch?
Yeah, I'm sure there has been. Yeah,
Because that's my only clapback to that. Has a character ever been as good on Twitter as Becky is right now?
I would argue Ciampa is.
Okay, I would agree, but Ciampa's NXT, and we have all agreed that NXT is its own
Totally
different animal.
But it's there. There are in fact, I'll give you one who's not even wrestling for WWE. Stokely Hathaway is awesome at Twitter. And now Becky is great. I'm not trying to diminish her. She's amazing at Twitter. Might be the best of all of them. I'm just
But
trying to.
I think that's responsible for some of the reaction that you're seeing,
I
especially
believe it is.
among that set of the fans. If you've got a star on the biggest stage and the biggest platform, because let's be real, SmackDown has 2.2 to 2.5 million consistent viewers every week. That's a much bigger audience probably than Stokely and Ciampa are dealing with. As much as NXT is popular,
Right.
there aren't 2 million network subscribers. So,
You're right.
so like Becky's got the biggest audience of those people. And if you've got someone who's that good at social media, on social media, with that kind of a platform, then that's the way people are going to talk because it's 2018 and hyperbole goes everywhere.
How many people do you realistically know that wrestle that fans and reports from the creative team alike are saying that this person might realistically main event WrestleMania? There's only a handful of people, and it's like one hand that you can say that about. And Becky's in the conversation now, based off of what I don't feel like she's earned from a character perspective. I think that's just I think that's all I'm trying to express to you and the listeners is that Rebecca Quinn deserves to be here. Becky Lynch the wrestler deserves to be here. Becky Lynch the character doesn't.
That's why she's a great heel. Heels get things they don't deserve.
She's not a heel, right? That's what you told me.
Heels get things they don't deserve, man. You keep saying she turned heel, so she's a great
I
heel.
thought so too. Can you tell? I don't know what they're doing with these heels and faces no more.
I don't either at
Because
this point because
somebody
down
gets
is up and up is down.
right. Daniel Bryan's in the
Daniel
hyperbaric
Bryan's
chamber,
been
and
the heel for 6 months. We've been saying that shit. We told everybody Daniel was the heel.
we did.
We told
did. We
everybody
tried
the
to
Miz
tell
is the face, y'all. The Miz is the face. Sure enough, the Miz is assassinating his excellent character and trying to be a goofy tag team with fucking Shane McMahon. And
We
Daniel
need not
Bryan
credit for
is
that.
schizophrenic.
We need our credit for that.
We,
Daniel Bryan is essentially Mojo Jojo.
yeah. I mean, I've already told you, Daniel Bryan's fucking Smeagol. Like, all he needs to do is start calling the title his Precious, and he's fucking Smeagol. Right
But
down
then-
to the third person speak.
Wouldn't Ciampa be Smeagol?
No. Ciampa is more like Mojo Jojo. Daniel Bryan is speaking about himself in the third person.
That's a good point.
Like, Daniel
That's a good
Bryan.
point.
Daniel Bryan sat in his hyperbolic chamber.
Speaking of that, did you like the AJ promo?
Before I get to the AJ promo, I want to say one other thing about the Daniel Bryan's promo that I noticed watching the video recap from last week that just shows you how, like, ridiculous they are sometimes to those of us who pay attention to small details. Daniel Bryan talking about the yes movement is fucking over. Meanwhile, his championship plates are yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Got the fucking title over his shoulder with his yes, yes, yes custom plates on the side, and he's talking about the yes movement is over. You gonna get new plates? If he don't have new plates when he comes out on Tuesday, then that man Daniel Bryan is a fucking liar, and he is full of shit.
I'm looking forward to when he comes back this week.
I'm gonna see no plates.
Well, I want to see the different Tron. Like they changed Becky's Tron.
Yeah.
I want to see Brian's Tron. Because there's no yes movement, so if he's gonna really be supervillain, he's gonna be Lex Luthor, Smeagol.
Yeah, like that's what the fuck I'm saying. As far as did I like the AJ promo, I mean, I'm ready for AJ to not be in the WWE title picture personally. So like,
Well, he was on the rematch, right? So
yeah, whatever. Like, let's get this over with and move on.
they're gonna have a great match at TLC, by the way.
Sure, I have no doubt that they will. Do I care anymore about AJ versus Daniel Bryan? No. Am I gonna watch the match? Yeah.
Well, you know, every now and then, I think it's okay for us to turn our brains off and just watch good wrestling. And that's coming from a guy who's strictly entertainment based and who likes entertainment first. Every now and then, it's okay for me to say, you know what, man, I'm gonna just watch this for what it is, because I don't really care about the story going into this.
No, but I do want to talk about the Miz and Shane McMahon really quickly because, like, I'm afraid for the Miz in the way, like, you were talking about. You're afraid with Becky. I'm afraid with the Miz because, on the one hand, I can say that I'm mildly amused by the stupid shit that he's doing with Shane. Like, it's mildly funny because Mike Mizanin is just a naturally endearing person and is relatively funny guy, and like, I like it. It works. So does the like diluted ego and like overinflated sense of importance. Like, those are very consistent with the Miz character. I get that, but like, we are very dangerously flirting with that line between endearingly fun and comedy character.
Yeah.
And comedy characters plummet down the card. And I'm going to need the most must-see Intercontinental Champion of the last 10 years to not plummet down the card.
I don't think he is because, I mean, very clearly he's Vince's guy. But and here's one thing I know for sure: Vince don't just put anybody in a feud or in a grouping with Shane. Normally, if you're involved with Shane, you're close to the top of the card, not at the top of the card. Um, but I think Miz has been able to. He's shown that he can vacillate between being the butt of the joke and then being serious fairly seamlessly. Don't you think?
I mean, I just remember the first time that we had Face Miz and how much of a disaster that was, and I'm just really afraid of this like potential face turn. As much as I love Miz, I am very afraid that it's going to ruin the thing that makes Miz great, which is that he's an arrogant dick, and like that works for him. He's like Schmidt on New Girl. He's just that like cocky kind of douche broy guy, but he does it in such a like lovably endearing way that you're just like, all right, yeah, sure.
I'm here for a Miz face turn though, only because it's so different and because he's been that version of the Miz for so long that sometimes it's refreshing to see these guys try something different. Like with Brian, I was so happy to see that Yes movement shit go away and him be healed, even if he still did the Yes, because you do something for so long, it gets a little stale.
I mean, I've been on record over the last month or so talking about how like I was not with Daniel Bryan.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, you have been.
so like he's a great wrestler. He's a great wrestler, and I'm enjoying this Schmiegel shit way more than I've enjoyed a lot of the other stuff. But like for first couple months back, I gave him a pass because like it's a great feel good story. But I was bored as fuck with Danny Bryan. I was Team Miz all the way.
So let's hit some quick hits real quick. Shinsuke and Rusev and the jumping Rusev. What do you
Bring
think of that?
Aiden English back, damn it.
He'll show up eventually, but
Um,
I don't know what they got planned for him, if anything. But what did you think of that? Because Rusev is a good challenger for him, I think.
I it'll get them. It'll keep them both on the show. That's about all I have to think about it at this point. It'll keep them both on the show.
I know you don't like the dude, you want him to go away, but I really enjoy this Randy Orton taking everything that's good about all the heroes away and him getting the mask again and hitting them with the Undertaker throat thrust. So Orton Mysterio, besides the go away version, what are you thinking?
I'm thinking, that feud and the feud that they started. As much as I love the segment, and I'm really looking forward to us talking about it, the feud between Orton and Mysterio and the feud between Samoa Joe and Jeff Hardy makes me think of what I said a couple weeks ago. It's 2012 all over again.
Oh yeah,
Like
'cause
Joe
you
and
know
Jeff
Joe.
Hardy were feuding in Impact in 2012, and Randy Orton and Rey Mysterio were feuding in WWE. Like this shit is 2012 all over again.
You know Joe's probably gonna bring up him going to Victory Road inebriated.
I hope he does, dude. I fucking hope he does. I loved that Samoa Joe promo. I
Well,
loved
but
it.
hold
I
on before
loved
we
it.
get there,
Loved
because I want to actually talk about it. But my last quick hit is the Usos are the most underappreciated act in the
it.
business.
All hail the
Usos and
Usos.
Bar. What do you
All,
think?
all hail the Usos. Welcome to the Uso Penitentiary. Like one of the 5 best tag teams of all time. That's
First
that's
ballot
all
Hall
I
of
gotta say.
Famers.
Yeah, like
Excellent package. Excellent wrestlers. Excellent promos.
especially the way like the new version of the Usos ever since the brand split when they got away from the face paint, when they like brought back the street gimmick but in a better way than the first
Hmm.
way, because a lot of people forget that like they debuted with that street gimmick. They
Hmm.
debuted with that, them and Tamina debuted
Hmm.
with that shit, and then they dropped it real fucking fast.
Hmm.
Only they brought that shit back and reminded people why they are straight fire.
Yes.
Like, and
Absolutely.
double shout out to them because them and Naomi managed to make a shilling for the WWE shop sale, an entertaining segment. Like
Yeah.
they
Not many
managed,
people do that.
like yeah, they managed to make shilling shit off of the WWE website into a relatively entertaining 30 seconds to a minute segment.
I love it. I love it. Okay. Yes. So please, Jeff Hardy, Samoa Joe, have at it.
All right, so the segment starts with Jeff is celebrating. They're celebrating Jeff's 20-year anniversary from the time that him and Matt first signed with the company, all the way back in 1998.
And it had me in my feels, by the way.
Oh, absolutely had me in my feels. Are you kidding me? Like, just some of the highlights they showed of his WWE career in
And
that video package.
you're a Carolina kid.
Yeah, I grew up in Charlotte, North Carolina for most of my childhood. Like, I grew up as a young North Carolina boy in the height of the TLC era. I was all about some Matt and Jeff Hardy. My number one, or not number one, but one of my top Raw moments of all time will forever be 2002 Undertaker Jeff Hardy. And the match ends, and Jeff Hardy is clinging to the ladder and pulling himself up and calling Undertaker's big evil ass out. I'm still standing. And it's like, yes, that's my dude right there.
That should turn Taker face.
Yeah, like, it's so bad. Like, he had to come down, and like, this was in the middle of his I beat the shit out of everybody character, and he comes back down to the ring, and instead of beating the fuck out of Jeff, just like pass him on the back, like, all right, yo, respect. I fucked you up.
You earned it. You earned this respect from me tonight.
Yeah, I'm gonna give you this pat. Good for you. But yeah, and then Jeff starts delivering like a rare good Jeff Hardy promo because it was authentic and not like his weird shit. Where he talked about what his career has meant to him, and he shouted out his family, and it was like, yo, my face paint's a lot better than it was 10 years ago. It's like, yeah, it is, but I'm going to tell you the same thing now that I said 10 years ago. You can miss me with that shit, but like, it's better now. But, and he says that it's not a retirement speech, blah, blah, blah. Cue the music of that dastardly bad man, Samoa Joe. And he comes
wait a minute. Please note that the entire roster's on the stage.
And
for
they
the
parted
entire
like
Jeff
the
Hardy
fucking
segment.
Red Sea for
Goddamn
Samoa
right.
Joe's ass. And he comes out and he proceeds to lay into Jeff Hardy for his drug history.
I'm
Lay into
sorry.
Jeff Hardy for his drug
I just
history.
read a NXT spoiler, and you're gonna be so happy.
Okay, I'm already down with that. So he reads into Jeff Hardy about like, I'm surprised you can remember half of those moments, and oh shit. See, now you got me distracted, Rance, and you fucked me up.
Sorry, we're talking about Joe and the champagne.
Oh yeah, he said he was gonna bring a bottle of champagne out to the ring, but then he thought twice about it and thought maybe it's not a good idea to have champagne around Jeff Hardy. And other shit along those lines. Like, I can't believe you can even remember half those moments. You were too blacked out. That's why you needed a video package to remind you.
Yep.
And I'm gonna fuck you up. I'm gonna put you to sleep. And I hope he does bring up the Victory Road fiasco because, like, Joe was in TNA with Jeff when his addiction shit was bad.
The worst, yes.
When he was rock bottoming. When him and Matt were both rock bottoming.
Isn't the match that Jeff no-showed that was like the reason he got fired against Joe?
He no-showed a couple of pay-per-views. And I think one of them was he was supposed to face Joe.
For the title.
Yeah, I mean, nothing will ever be worse, though. Nothing will ever be worse than the Sting match. Nothing. For those of you that don't know anything about it, what had happened was Jeff Hardy was in the middle of a reign as the TNA champion. He was the world champion. He had turned heel and had like christened himself this new character, the Antichrist of Wrestling. It was real bad, but to give you an idea of why it was real bad, this is when Eric Bischoff and Hulk Hogan were running the show. And
the Group Immortal.
Yeah, and anything that Eric Bischoff and Hulk Hogan touches post like 1999 turns to ash pretty much immediately. This was no exception. So Jeff Hardy's supposed to be defending the title in the main event of this pay-per-view against Sting, and it's like supposed to be the culmination of this storyline where Sting had been going up against the Immortal stable the same way he went up against the NWO back in WCW because early TNA loved to rehash the oldies. Sting comes out. He's ready for the match. It's a main event match, and Sting's gone on record talking about how like he was really looking forward to this match, and he was really looking forward to trying to tear it up because this was back when Sting could still go a little bit.
Yeah.
Jeff comes out, and first of all, coming down to the ring, this motherfucker could barely stand up.
This is 2 minutes after his music kept playing without him coming out.
Yeah. And the reason we would find out later that it took 2 minutes for him to come out after his music had been playing is because first they couldn't find him. Then when they finally found him and realized how fucked up he was, they were trying to keep him from going out there. And he wasn't having that, so he went out anyway and could barely fucking walk. Couldn't stand up. Spent the first minute and a half holding his T-shirt like he was going to throw it out into the crowd and going from side to side to side to side in the ring like he was going to throw the shirt. Meanwhile, Sting and the refs and everybody are like huddling up to try to figure out what the fuck they're going to do. Bell rings. Sting puts him in the Scorpion death drop, pins his ass, takes the title, goes home.
And when he says pins, like Bischoff had to come out there and whisper in their ears the new finish. And when he says when Kyle says pins him, he physically held him down. Like the entire time Jeff was kicking out and the ref just counted 3 and they just left.
Yeah.
And the crowd was chanting bullshit, this is bullshit. And Sting was saying audibly on camera, yes it is, I agree. It was bad.
Yeah, like bad.
That's probably...
Oh, and did we mention this was while Jeff was still dealing with the legal fallout from getting caught with like 600 fucking painkillers?
No, we didn't. But yes, that was part of that too. So this of course nothing will ever be a worse moment in wrestling than I think Owen. But if you had to put like God, I hope we never make this list. But this is top 5 worst in wrestling history.
Mm-hmm. Oh, dude, this is like top 2 worst in wrestling history. I'd say the only thing worse than this is the finger poke of doom.
Oh, well, okay, so you're talking about like I was talking about like worst moment. Okay, so I guess the Owen situation you wouldn't count.
Oh, no, I'm not counting the Owen situation because that's so tragic that I don't think that we would put it on a list of like wrestling related things. That was just like the worst thing in the history of professional wrestling other than Benoit.
Well, this is worse. This is worse than Finger Poke of Doom because at least the Finger Poke of Doom had a plan. This was just bad. Yeah, there was a goal in mind, and Goldberg went and shredded his arm. So it was bad, but there was a plan. And sometimes plans just don't work. This was a grown man coming to work drunk, them knowing he's drunk and high, and not telling him to go home, then losing him, then letting him go out to the ring to wrestle a match on live pay-per-view.
Yeah, it was real rough.
And people wonder why I don't fuck with Impact Wrestling or TNA anymore.
It was
one of many reasons.
It was real rough.
But SmackDown was good. SmackDown was, like you said, it wasn't a tremendous episode of SmackDown, but Raw was so bad that it could have done anything.
Oh, absolutely. And that's the thing. Like, SmackDown didn't do anything revolutionary. It's just they did what you expect them to do. Every segment built towards something. And the TLC match for TLC gonna be fire. Because Becky versus Charlotte versus Asuka in a TLC match is going to be fire.
It'll probably main event the show.
It should main event the show.
Well, it's a TLC match at the TLC pay-per-view.
It should main event the show.
Yeah.
And I mean, realistically, if you look at all 3 of the women that are in there, can you be mad at that decision?
Hell no. They deserve it. They deserve the main event. Absolutely.
And that's another part of the reason why SmackDown got it better is, and I know they have the advantage because they're only a 2-hour show, but SmackDown emphasizes their women, and the women are the best thing on WWE right now.
Yeah.
SmackDown also has a legitimate tag team division, so their tag team segments are not pointless and awful.
Until the shakeup.
Yeah, until the shakeup when all the good tag teams get moved over to Raw.
I think the only major tag team that's going to get moved is the Usos. The Usos.
I think the Usos and Naomi are both going to Raw.
Naomi will quit if she's not on the same show as Jericho.
Shit. That's her man.
Right? But the Usos, Naomi, and AJ are locks to be on Raw next year. They're locks. Before I spit some fire, because I got some fire to spit, you want to play your favorite segment? You got anything for us this week?
Unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, your favorite segment, Watch Me Shit on Ring of Honor, isn't going to happen this week because Ring of Honor is so ain't shit, they don't even have any fucking news this week.
I will say that the one thing of note that involves Ring of Honor and doesn't even
Is that
involve
the
them.
best friends are having a great showing in the World Tag League?
Well, that's not what I was gonna say, but they are looking great. I saw some stuff Beretta was doing, and Beretta's always been great. But no, that
So
Silas
Chuck E.
Young,
Cheese, shit.
sure, yeah. But the only news of note involving them is that Silas Young, who is currently a major part of their show and will be in a significant match at Final Battle.
And will not
which
be
is
with the
coming up.
company next year because he's going to NXT?
Yes, was in the crowd in Milwaukee this Monday.
Of course he was. He's from Milwaukee.
Right, but
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. Yeah, y'all.
the last
Another one is leaving. The last real man's going to be... I'm telling you guys, as an Honor Club subscriber, I'm telling you, 2019's Ring of Honor roster will be Jay Lethal, those two douchebags who I won't even name, SCU,
I see you
Flip Gordon, and the Best Friends. That's the entire
and the
roster.
Kingdom and the Kingdom.
Oh, and the Kingdom. That's the entire roster.
And I doubt the Best Friends will be Ring of Honor full time because they really getting some clout in Chaos at New
Here's the
Japan.
thing. They loved Beretta anyway, and Chuck E. T. is great. And the two of them
He get over
together is awesome.
And Chaos could use a heavy tag team right now.
And New Japan could use more heavy tag teams because the heavyweight tag team division has almost the same problem that the cruiserweight tag team division has, not enough bodies.
And Yano's lost his best friend because Ishii's in this Fight Forever war with Suzuki. So Yano's just kind of selling DVDs on his own now.
Man, speaking of New Japan, real quick, before you spit your fire, I really hope that report about Hiromu is not true and that he gets better. Because, like, if Hiromu was never able to wrestle again, I might, like, legit cry, y'all.
Oh, it'll be terribly sad, but I think the goal now is just for that man to be able to be healthy.
Oh, absolutely. Like, I'm not
Because
saying
that was
compromise your health or anything
No, right.
like that. But, like, if it's true that he'll never be able to, like, wrestle again, I will cry. Especially because Hanma's still being allowed to wrestle, and, like, that scares me every time.
And he still does that stupid ass headbutt?
Yep.
Okay. Nice. But you know what though? They will find something for him like they did for Shibata. Because Shibata seems like he's fulfilled training.
Well, and Hiromu is the type of person that could thrive kind of like Taka as like a manager for somebody,
Sure.
for like one of the Gaijins or something. Because Hiromu, one of his big advantages was even we, the people who don't speak his language, could see how much he oozes charisma. Just oozes that it factor. That's why we're going to be so sad if he can't do it anymore, is because, like,
It's so good.
he's got it.
He has. If I can be the practical one of the two, because I love Hiromu, I do. I'm the LIJ Mark. LIJ. Mark. I'm a LIJ Mark. You guys know this. But if Hiromu got to be out for an extended period of time, maybe ever, they sure did get the right replacement.
Oh, yeah. Shingo is the right replacement.
Shingo's for real.
Shingo
Oh my God.
Takagi is the man.
Yes.
The
They
dragon.
got the right. And I can't. Let me tell you something. I can't wait to Wrestle Kingdom. That's gonna be a good show.
I can't. You know
They
what?
have me involved. They have me engaged this early.
Speaking of Shingo, you know what I can't wait to see? Shingo versus Kushida.
Oh my God! Talk about the strikes in that match.
Just
Jesus
take.
Christ.
I mean, I already have New Japan World, but like, just take my 9.99 yen right now.
I'll give it to you.
Yeah.
I don't know how much yen is, but I'll just give it to you like strip club style.
Well, 9.99 yen is about $8.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. It's about,
So as soon as December hits, I'll go ahead and subscribe. I usually give them the month before, the month after, because
New Year's Dash is worth watching. And yes, we here at the Outsiders Edge all believe in paying for the things that we enjoy watching because these are our wrestlers, and if we bitch about how wrestlers should make more money, we need to buy their shit.
And yes, in the legal ways.
Yeah, like
I'll say that as I just bought who might be my favorite wrestler right now. I'm wearing his shirt right now.
hell
Shout out
yeah.
to the Velveteen Dream.
Shout out to the Dream. Well, no, like,
Uh,
but yeah, like that's the thing. When we talk about, when we talked about All In, I was at All In. Rance bought All In. When we talk about Wrestle Kingdom, I have New Japan World. He will buy the show.
I subscribe to New Japan World every December for December, January, and February every
Yeah.
year.
I shit on Ring of Honor every week because I am an Honor Club subscriber, and it is my right to shit on this product that I watch.
And I usually buy Final Battle.
Yeah. So like
Final Battle or Super Card of Honor. I buy one of those
if
every
we
year.
talk about a show or a promotion, y'all, we are actually paying to watch said show or said promotion.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we don't
Yeah.
do that stream shit.
Mm-mm. No.
And we're
So-
poor folks, so we don't want to hear your bullshit about we ain't got no money. I'm a public school fucking teacher, and Rance works for a fucking public university. We do not make shit tons of cash.
And I pay child support.
Facts.
So yeah. So this ain't just coming out of my luxury fund.
Yeah, we're not, sipping Mai Tais on the beach from the country club.
Should I put gas in my helicopter or should I get this pay-per-view today? No, we actually spending our real money.
We're not going to talk about how cheap gas is in South Carolina because I think you might hit me.
No, it's South Carolina and Texas are two of the. We're close, I'm sure.
Probably.
The
I forgot
people
you're in
listening
Texas.
might be mad.
Yeah, I forgot.
Yes, the people listening might be mad at
No,
us.
but speaking
yes.
of gasoline, you light a match and that shit's gonna catch fire. And I heard
journalistic integrity.
I heard from my homie Rance, y'all, that he's got some fire he needs to spit. So it's time for a rousing rendition of "Spit Your Fire."
I got to get some drops for these things. I'm working on that. Yes. So if you listen to our brethren, Ricky and Clive, their episode that, as of this recording, dropped today, they had a strictly NXT UK show. If you haven't been watching NXT UK, you're missing great wrestling. It's great wrestling, great stories. Everybody's getting time to be built. It's a good show.
And Walter is coming, y'all. Walter is coming.
Walter has just been signed to NXT UK. Okay? So Walter might be one of the biggest names on the indie circuit right now. So not only has he signed, but it's coincided with WWE signing all the main talent to new contracts. The new contracts give them more money, but it's saying that you can only work with promotions we have a working relationship with. So you can't just go work for any promotion anymore. You can finish your dates if you already had dates signed before the time you signed this contract, but now it's just WXW and ICW in progress instead of anywhere you want now. Okay? Standard business fare. Don't you
Yeah,
think?
y'all. If that's got you pissing in your Cheerios, like that was coming eventually, y'all. Like I'm gonna use Pete Dunne as my prime example. Pete Dunne is the NXT UK champion. Pete Dunne was just in the main event of TakeOver War Games 2. How long did y'all really think that WWE was just gonna let Pete Dunne go to these other companies and wrestle who the fuck ever? How long did y'all really think they were going to let Pete Dunne go out and have matches with people like Zack Sabre?
And I wasn't going to bring this up, but you saying that made me think that I need to actually say this to the people listening, because British wrestling fans are losing their mind, and we'll get to them in a second. You know that a few of their wrestlers have showed up to the Performance Center injured because of wrestling other people not involved with WWE. So that's like saying that I work for a university. That's like saying I come to work with a broken arm because I was fucking around somewhere else. That ain't got to do with the company, and that just makes the other people I was around look bad. So imagine how I don't know who it was. The reports didn't say who it was, but imagine, knock on wood, you're Tyler Bate, and you come to work and you're injured because you just wrestled this other motherfucker at some random show in Liverpool. How do you think WWE feels?
Exactly.
Right?
No, exactly. Like, at the end of the day, especially the ones like Tyler and like Pete Dunne and some
Well,
of
the main ones, yes. Pete,
some of the
Mustache
bigger
Mountain, Wolfgang, yeah.
Noam Dar, some of those bigger name guys in terms of
Mark
in
Andrews.
terms of like being on the televised WWE product, like if they were on regular NXT, they wouldn't be on any indies at all ever. Period. So like,
But let's talk about these British wrestling fans, okay? So there's there
British
seems to be a
wrestling
lot of
fans have a glutton of riches over there. First of all, there's a lot of great thriving companies over there. We can't say that in the US. Like, yeah, we got WWE and they're the big dog in town, but we don't have the thriving indie scene that y'all have to the extent that y'all have it.
we have a thriving indie scene, but it's people doing it on their own.
Yes. We don't
They
have as
have
many
great
companies
Yes.
that are all like, we got PWG is doing their thing, MLW is doing their thing,
GCW,
GCW is doing their thing.
which I know isn't owned by Joey Janela, but he's the only guy I know that books stuff over there.
Yeah, everything's Joey Janela's something. Even when he's out hurt, which he needs the name rec because, like, I know the kind of knee surgery he had is expensive as fuck. I know it for a fact because I had the kind of knee surgery he's had.
Yeah,
That shit
so
costs.
he's got some rehab in his future.
Oh yeah, he'll
Let
be
me talk
out for
about
over a year. I will guarantee it. He'll be out for over a year.
and his style, absolutely. With the style he wrestles. So this British wrestling fans, there's already some conjecture that WWE only created the NXT UK brand to offset the World of Sport renewal. Okay. First and foremost, if that's the case, so the fuck what? Every time a McDonald's comes on one corner, isn't there usually a Burger King on the next?
Or a Chick-fil-A or a Wendy's or a Taco Bell.
It's just common knowledge to have good business sense, right? And yes, I realize wrestling fans fail or refuse to acknowledge that WWE is a business first and foremost. I understand that. I accept that. But I don't believe that's the case. But let's speak of it from if you look at if you actually pay attention to things and you listen to the plan that Paul Triple H Levesque has been saying for 6 years, global localization has always been the goal. UK just happened to be first. I wonder why. Oh, because you have all this great UK talent that you're signing, right? Pete Dunne, Mark Andrews, Tyler Bate, Trent Seven, Wolfgang, Noam Dar, Tony Storm. She's not, you know what I'm saying, she's not British, but you get the point, right? So there's that. Somebody had the nerve to tweet Pete Dunne saying that he's a sellout because he's left the British indie scene to go to the big rich American companies. Pete Dunne's a 23-year-old man with a wife and a kid. You want him to be wrestling in armories his whole life?
That's fucked up.
Pete Dunne just probably signed a 6-figure deal.
Yeah. Let that man make that cheddar.
Not only let that man make that cheddar, but if you're truly a fan of Pete Dunne's, then you're happy that he's. Not only are you happy that you should be happy that he's successful, but it's cheaper to watch him now. The network is $9.
And that's $9 American, which is only like what, £6?
You know what I'm saying? So like, what are you tripping about? And if you got a problem with him not wrestling, so this is a British wrestling fan who said this. If you have he wrestles particularly mainly now for NXT UK, right? So it's not like any of the companies that you were following don't wrestle in the same city every time. So they have a taping in Blackpool, they have a taping in Liverpool, they have a taping in Dudley, they have a taping in Chelsea, they have a taping in Manchester. It's gonna come to your city eventually. What are you complaining of? Like you just sound selfish and ridiculous, and it goes back on us as fans, and it makes us look bad. It's part of the reasons why I complain about us as a fan, as a group so much because we're so fucking selfish. We'll tell people to their faces that you should have done this because forget your family, forget your kids, forget your life, do what I want because it's what I want to see. That's disgusting.
You know, I have long, whether we're talking wrestling or anything else, I've long hated the term "sell out" because that's bullshit.
Oh, I hate it.
That's bullshit. Of course I'm gonna fucking sell out. You mean to tell me you're gonna turn down money? You're just gonna sit there and turn down good money for something you like to do. I do this. I do what I do as a teacher because I enjoy doing it. Somebody offered me double what I make to do something else.
Yes.
Deuces, y'all. This will be my last year in the classroom. Like,
Now understand, all money ain't good money, but they ain't having him killing people and burying bodies.
they're having him do the same shit that he would be doing anyway. That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
Like,
so like, what are you complaining about? And then this whole, and this all comes back to this whole WWE is a big corporation and we hate them. I understand right now it's in vogue to hate WWE. That's fine. I get that. That's all big companies. But you guys need to realize that when WWE is good or thriving, all the rest of the companies are. Why do you think the other companies are thriving right now? Look at all the wrestlers WWE has had and let go that's running the business. Who's the top wrestler in the world right now not in WWE? Arguably.
are you talking?
Cody Rhodes.
I was gonna say it's either Kenny or Cody.
Kenny came from FCW. Cody Rhodes came from WWE.
Yeah.
Arguably, most of the people around the world, and I know people are gonna sit here and name a list of people that aren't. I get that. That's
Yeah,
cool.
I mean the tentacles are everywhere. Bully Ray is in fucking Ring of Honor right now. Tommy Dreamer runs House of Hardcore, and they're doing all those dates. Like House of Hardcore is getting a lot bigger.
Let's go even further. All the main wrestling companies, the wrestling schools, who run them?
Mm-hmm. Lance Storm's got a wrestling academy. Shout out to that shit because a lot of his people end up like Chelsea Green was a Lance Storm graduate. Tyler Breeze is a Lance Storm graduate. Emma's a Lance Storm
graduate.
Dashwood.
What do you want? Yeah.
Yeah, like I think he calls it
Storm Wrestling Academy. Storm Wrestling SWA.
I knew it was SWA. Yeah. But he's got an academy. The Dudleys have their own school. Booker T's got a school. That's where Ember Moon went. Booker T's school.
I was signed up to that for a day.
Yeah, like
just didn't pay the money, but you know.
No, but like they got a school. Fucking the
Brian Kendrick.
Mm-hmm. I think Shannon Moore or the Hardys, one or the other. I think Matt was doing some training for people. I think he was one of Trevor.
But it's more Shannon now, yeah. But the Omega guys, yeah.
Yeah, the Omega guys do training and shit. Like
the Wild Samoans.
Yep. They run a school
So like, what are you talking about? It's one thing to complain just because you want to complain, but then when you complain, is this stupid and this disrespectful almost? It bothers me. So
it just boggles my mind. Like I know I keep coming back to the sellout thing, but it just boggles my mind. I'll use a sport. No, but I'm gonna use a sports analogy, and I'll even do a soccer type thing because we're talking Britain. If you've got a team that you really support, and they're not in the Premier League, don't you want them to fucking win the table so that they get promoted, so that eventually they maybe make it as high as the Premier League? Isn't that your end goal? If you got a player that you really fucking like, and they're in the minors, and they're playing in like fucking MLS, don't you want your team to buy their shit in the transfer window because you want them to play for you, because you want them to be good as fuck?
I'm going to give you an American example. I'm one of the biggest LeBron James fans in this world. I'm one of the biggest Los Angeles Lakers haters in this world. I hate them with all the vigor of possible in my body. However, as much as I hate LeBron being on that team, I'm happy for him because it's only good for him. Consequently, Rich Louder from One Nation Radio was a LeBron hater for most of LeBron's career, and is a diehard Lakers fan. Guess who his favorite player is right now? Because he's playing for his favorite team. So like, I'm happy my man is where he wants to be and killing it. Rich is happy that his favorite team has the best player in basketball. That's what happens when you like somebody, right? If you support them, you support them.
That's how it's
Not
supposed to be.
not just how it affects you, but for the goodness of them. And all I hear from wrestling fans is we just want good wrestling. If you watch NXT UK, it's great wrestling, and they're finally getting paid real money.
Yeah.
Finally.
Getting paid enough money to be able to afford the medical care for when they get hurt. Of course, I don't know. Let me take that back because the UK has socialized medicine, so like people can routinely afford the medical care that they deserve because it's a right over there, not a privilege.
That's just our dumbass, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
just
our
us dumbass Americans who think that, people should be denied health care.
It's a privilege.
It's my privilege to stick my foot up your ass.
I'm glad you said your foot. I'm glad you said your foot. Yeah, I wanted to bring that to our attention, and Clive and Rick talked about that a little bit today. But it's ridiculous that the things we hold our wrestlers to, and how selfish our desires. It's one thing for us to have selfish desires. Would I like to see the things I want to happen? Absolutely.
But
But
there's a
I'm not
right
so
way to
fucking
have.
selfish.
But there's a right way to
Yeah,
be selfish. Like it's one thing to say like, I don't know if I would want to see the Bucks in WWE because I like the creative things that they do on their
sure,
own and I don't want
sure.
to necessarily see them go corporate. But it's stupid as fuck and like you said, selfish as fuck to say some shit like, well, I don't want to see these people get paid $1 million to go do the
And
same shit that they were gonna do anyway.
to go out of your way to go to them. Like I knew we were fucked up as a society in terms of wrestling people. When people believed Meltzer so much that they would literally tell WWE writers, "Well, this is what you meant to happen." Dog, I wrote the show. You don't know.
Yeah. Like y'all,
By
I
the
don't
way,
let my
y'all
students
still
tell
hate
me
Road Dogg?
y'all, I don't let my students tell me what I meant to teach them. You can't tell the writer what they meant to fucking write.
I as On the backs of that, I ask again, y'all still hate Road Dogg?
Yo man, Road Dog's not infallible, but like I'll eat a little crow on that Road Dog.
Try to tell people.
Here's the thing about Road Dogg. Road Dogg's not flashy, but he's consistent. He's not flashy, but he's consistent. SmackDown doesn't do anything super flashy, but they consistently write stories.
I'm just saying, man. We are so quick to complain and jump on the bandwagon or bring the torch out for something that changes every fucking week. Chill out on that shit for a minute. And you UK fans, if you enjoy wrestling, this is the best your scene's been ever.
Yeah, man. Takeover Blackpool is gonna be great.
Takeover Blackpool's gonna be great, but forget NXT UK. You still got so many other great companies to watch. So
Yeah,
many.
which company's doing Zack Sabre versus Pac? Like I don't like
Revolution
Pac
Pro,
as a person,
Rev
but
Pro,
that match is gonna be fire.
Rev Pro, yes, and yes, the NXT UK guys can go to Rev Pro, but you know who can? The in New Japan, because you know who's Rev Pro Heavyweight Champion?
Tomohiro
Ishii, isn't it?
Ishii.
Told me yes. So like, you know, okay, I can't get Pete Dunne. Fuck it, I'll settle for Minoru Suzuki and Ishii. Like, come on, dog. That I'm gonna use a middle aged white term. That grinds my gears.
I'll say what no, I won't say what the kids say now because some of our older listeners will think it's a dirty reference.
Okay, but when we end the show, we're gonna say we don't give a fuck. So go ahead.
Oh no, because you know what the kids say now when shit pisses them off? Man, that
What?
shit blew me.
Okay, I see your point.
Yeah, that's what teenagers say now, y'all. I teach in a high school. That's what they say now.
You got anything else before we get out of here, man?
Nope. Can't think of anything.
Ladies and gentlemen, NXT spoilers are amazingly crazy.
We're going to
Check that
talk
shit.
about them after we finish recording. You can check them out at your leisure.
Or watch live, as my brother Clive likes to do. Don't
Or
tell
do
Clive
both.
spoilers.
Like,
I do both.
yeah. We thoroughly endorse doing both. We do both.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But if you don't like
Because-
spoilers, we're not spoiler people.
No, that's why I didn't say it. That's why I gave Kyle the eyes, but I was like, let me wait. Yeah, man. Okay, well, tell where they can find you, brother.
You can find me on Twitter at Dr. S'mores. You can also find our missing brother Karl on Twitter at Outsider Curvin. He's the profile to follow, y'all. He's the most active tweeter of us all.
He's excellent on the Twittergram.
As
The Twitter machine.
I was gonna say, as a Bully Ray would say, his Twitter machine is real mean.
You can follow your boy at It's Ray Cash, REY as in Mysterio, CASH as in dollars. Don't forget you can follow the squad at Social Suplex. And we also are a part of the Chairshot Radio Network at thechairshot.com, where you
Always use your head.
find us wherever you listen to podcasts, Spotify, Podbean, Apple Music, Google Play, anything. We're
You
all
name
of
it,
them.
we're
Check
out
us out.
there, y'all.
We're out there. I want to show some love to Chairshot Radio because that's my other show I host with Chris Platt. We moved our day and changed our format, so we now host a live Sunday show. Check your boys out, call in, ask us questions. We'll be on there talking that shit, but that's all we do. Yeah, man. Yeah, I guess give them the tagline, brother. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, well, y'all, as you know, we here on the Outsider's Edge are just two, sometimes three young men out here doing the best that we can to make it in this world. And so, not even if, because we're sure we said some things that you disagreed with or
Especially tonight.
got you all up in your feelings or made you feel some type of way, just remember that we're out here chasing our dreams, y'all. And you have got to respect that. But if you don't, we don't give a fuck. Thanks for listening.